Afternoon, everybody. I think the biggest thing is you look at really how everything went down Monday night, got off to a really, really slow start in all three phases. Really just stayed resilient, poised through the noise, and, don't blink, don't flinch mentality when things really back up against the wall, who going to stand up and who going to fold. And, this team found a way to stay connected. Find a way to make plays, made some halftime adjustments, and really played just some really good complimentary football overall. Thought the specialists played really well overall. Obviously, the 59-yard field goal that Will hit before the halftime was huge, especially considering from a mental aspect where you look at it, where it goes from being a possible 54, 53-yard to the ball gets backed up to become a 59-yarder. Decision has to be made. Play clock is kicking on whether or not we're going to put the offense back out there or leave Will out there. Kick is really into the wind in that stadium, and for him to go out there and really put that through the uprights was huge for our team, especially from a momentum standpoint going into the half to get those 3 points. I thought Mr. Wright really punted the ball overall really well. Outside of the one, he kind of pulled out of bounds for the 31-yarder. But you really look at talking about being at your best when your best is required. That last punt that he hit, 16 seconds left on the clock, kind of backed up. They only need 3 points. We always talking about kind of that competitive greatness for him to go out there, 50-yard ball over a 5-second hang time, force a fair catch there. That's really kind of those biggest pressure situations that we talk about and what we really look for and expect to thrive in. So I thought he had overall a good game. And, again, started off a little slow, but, guys just stayed connected and find a way to start defeating some blocks, playing well, doing a great job of communicating, and find a way to make some plays and kind of flip the game a little bit.
Kevin talked a little bit yesterday about it, but I was curious, how do you lose 5 or 6 yards in the placement of the ball? And because you guys had already had the team out there, right?
Yeah, so I guess they just misspotted the football. So they originally spotted it, let's call it the 36-yard line, and I guess they went up in the booth and realized that it was misspotted, so they ended up moving it back. And the play clock doesn't get reset in that situation, and field goals team already out there, and so you got to be able to make some really quick decisions on whether or not we're gonna leave them out there. We didn't have any timeouts left, and so either it's A, leave them out there, or B, quickly kind of rush the offense back out there, try to get a snap off, see if we can possibly steal 5 yards and get out of bounds.
What was his pregame range?
Yeah, so actually his pregame range going in that direction was 57. It was 57, and when he did hit the 57, it had a little bit more extra room on it, and the wind was actually blowing a little bit harder than during pregame warm-up, which is why, KO was looking at me like, well, hey, what we doing? What we doing? And, I'm like, let's leave him out there. I feel confident that he can get it done. And even, again, the mental aspect that goes into it as a kicker of thinking, I'm already against the wind. This is a 54, 55-yarder. And now you're looking at the ball being backed up. And, even Will was kind of wondering, looking on the sideline like, what are we doing in this situation? But for him to go out and really execute at that level says a lot about who he is as a kicker.
When you're making that decision, how much are you thinking about what a kick of that like this does to his confidence one way or the other?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the one thing with Will is that this guy has unwavering confidence in himself. He has supreme confidence in what his operation is, the process that he goes through. Make or miss, I don't think that really would have affected him. But obviously with the make, that boosts his confidence. And we're always looking, how can we find a way to just stack plays, boost our confidence, and really kind of just continue on.
The order of it, the play clock started and then they moved the ball?
Yeah, so they moved the ball. They moved the ball, play clock started, and at that time it's a 25-second play clock and no longer a 40. And so at that time it's, you got to make a quick decision on what we want to do.
Yeah, what did you like most about what Miles did in the punt return game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Rob, for Miles Price is he really continued on from what he was doing in the preseason. Tracked it well, caught it well, made great decisions back there. And, you know, what you love most about this guy is his ability to create on his own. He ended up having an explosive off of really a rush that we ended up having. Guys did an unbelievable job of really converting the rush into a hold-up. He was able to make a guy miss kind of at that point of attack, get to the second level to where all the blockers were. And, we stole a lot of the hitting yardage in that football game. Miles caught one ball at the 6-yard line, was able to get it out to the 23, had two 20-plus yard punt returns right there for explosives, kind of flipping momentum a little bit. And so you just really appreciate the energy that he brings as a returner. You can see him out there. He's hop, skip, jumping, and you can see our sideline and see that the guys are really feeding off his energy, and that's really what we want is a overflow of energy from the field onto the sideline as the offense or the defense is running onto the field, and Miles does that, gives that to our team.
When we were talking with him yesterday, we asked him about if there were any nerves at all, and kind of looked at us why would you have nerves?
Yeah.
Is that mental piece another aspect of what is impactful for that position, kind of that fearlessness?
Yeah, definitely, Lindsay. And, I tell the guys all the time about the man in the arena. Surely everyone's seen Gladiator. And there's only been so many man in the arenas in the NFL when you start talking about 70,000 people looking at one person on a play. And, really the returner is that, the quarterback is that, the kicker is that. And so it takes a lot of mental toughness and grit to kind of be that person. And the mental makeup of Miles says a lot about who he is and what you really appreciate. And it's something you really look for in that position.
What do you think when Eric Wilson got a piece of that?
Yeah, he will. That's what we signed up for. This is a guy who's as versatile as they come. Cashman goes down, he steps into a starting green dot defensive role, calling the defense, TFLs. And, I always talk about, the players are the ones playing the game. And so earlier in that game, he will kind of seep through. And he came to the sideline telling me that he felt like he had an opportunity to kind of work a little up and under and really wanted to see if I would give him the green light. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. If you have an idea, please present it to me. Either it's going to be, yeah, let's do it, or I don't think that's a great idea, let's not. But he came to me, great idea, and, we were able to kind of shorten the field right there for him to be able to go get a piece on that. And, it changed the football game.
And who you looking at on kickoff returns with Ty?
Yeah, the Ty Chandler injury is tough, and man, I first I want to talk about Ty because he actually did that on the opening kickoff of the game. So the very first opening kickoff, he returned, he stuck his foot in the ground violently and actually ended up kind of getting his knee a little bit, and he didn't come to me until really the end of the second quarter, telling me, he's like, look, Hat, I'm giving you everything I got, but my knee is messed up. And I'm like, well, have you told anybody? You communicated to the trainers? And he's like, no, I haven't told anybody. This is my first time telling anybody. And I'm like, well, you got to say something. We got to go tell somebody, man. You out here with a bum knee playing. But that guy is just as gritty as they come, tough as nails, man. And hopefully a speedy recovery for Ty. Hopefully get him back soon. But from a kick return standpoint, Xavier Scott, we're excited to get back. Ty Felton is another option back there, and Isaiah Rodgers is another option. And so we're kind of working through that right now just in terms of who we want to put back there out of those really three choices. So,
what was your perspective on that last kick return at the 2-minute mark that Ty did end up taking back in?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the great thing is of kind of being with same coaches, same coaching staff, you get a good line of communication on how you want to operate in certain situations. And so they scored a touchdown. It's 2:02 left. We're well aware of what the situation is. So between myself, KO, our game management coordinator, Cordell, we've already had a discussion and communicated to Ty and Miles that no matter what, wherever this ball gets kicked to, obviously they're going to try to kick it out deep A or put it out of bounds. But if they do attempt to put it out of the end zone, regardless of how deep it does get kicked, we got to bring this ball out in order to get it past beyond the 2-minute marks to basically save ourselves 40 seconds right there. And so, great job by them. And, if you really look at the tape, it's clear that everybody's all on the same page. Blockers are blocking their butts off so we can at least get it to the 27-yard line. Their kickoff team was kind of, not sure if we were going to bring it out, so they were kind of slow poking, and, our guys were on top of it, and Ty brings it out and really saves ourselves 40 seconds from them getting the ball back with 9 seconds versus 49 seconds, which is a huge, huge, huge difference.
What is your school of thought there? Would you just have Will bang it through the
Yeah,
back
I think,
or
in that situation, you should just hit it out of bounds, especially with the wind blowing in your face. You just got to be careful, Dane, because what can happen is that we have to really hit the ball out of bounds beyond the 40-yard line. Because if let's say we kick it out at the minus 43-yard line, they can elect to take it right where the ball goes out if it is beyond that 40-yard line. So, ideally you just have Will aim sideways and just put it out of bounds, and let's just call it wherever, 20, 25-yard line right there, and they'll take it at the 40.
Just to clarify, he couldn't have, the clock wouldn't start until he was crossing the goal line to return the ball out.
So correct. So it would start as soon as he caught the football. The clock starts. Yeah.
Matt, just how important, you've talked a little bit about Ryan, his ability to hold the ball for Will, but how important is just the chemistry for 2 years now, those guys working together of Andrew, Will, and Ryan?
Yeah, it's huge, especially when you start talking about in those conditions, being able to execute in the elements, because the tilt of the ball is much different when you're going with the wind versus when there is no wind versus when you're hitting into the wind. And so, those guys obviously have great chemistry and a great connection just in terms of how Will wants the ball to be held in those conditions to even give ourselves an opportunity to be able to make that 59-yard field goal. And the trust obviously has to be there, and Will has supreme confidence in the entire operation between Poe from the snap to the hold. And, obviously it's on him from there. Cool. Appreciate it.